Tonight on Connecticut's news station, rising rent fears.
There's too much on our shoulders. We can't do it anymore.
Hundreds of people in Connecticut demand lawmakers stop high rent costs.
Teen arrested. Police are investigating a stabbing in one town in our state. The latest details tonight.
A weather watch alert for snow, sleet, freezing rain, and rain. We'll talk about timing and impact coming up.
President in Poland.
NATO will not be divided, and we will not tire.
We'll hear President Biden's message to NATO allies as the war in Ukraine approaches the one-year mark.
And commutation concerns. In a Fox 61 special report, a family's push for reform as a woman's killer tries for an early release from prison.
Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And we begin at 10 with a weather watch alert tonight as we're preparing for snow and a wintry mix across Connecticut tomorrow. Good evening. I'm Ben Goldman.
And I'm Jen Bernstein. Thank you so much for joining us. That weather could make your morning commute icy on Thursday. We want to get right over to Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for a first look at that forecast. Rachel.
A little bit of every kind of precipitation, at least throughout the state, heading into later tomorrow, into Wednesday or Thursday morning, I should say. This will all break out between 3 and 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, beginning as rain, snow, or a wintry mix. As it develops, though, we quickly transition over to rain along the Connecticut shoreline. It will take a little bit longer, though, for our northern valley locations. I eventually do think everybody transitions over to rain as we head towards daybreak on Thursday. The exception, though, is going to be in the northwest and the northeast hills, where we could see icy conditions persist right through the night tomorrow night and even into early on Thursday, where things could be quite slippery. For most of the rest of the state, it should be just damp with wet roadways. But again, there will be some inland areas, especially up in elevation, that are still icy heading into Thursday morning. Earlier, we had a few scattered rain and even snow showers out there. Those are out of here. Temperatures right now are in the mid-30s to right around 40 degrees. Heading through the evening tonight, we'll see temperatures bottom out right around the 30-degree mark. And during the day tomorrow, we'll begin with a little bit of sunshine, but we'll see increasing clouds. And again, heading through the late afternoon and early evening, we'll see those rain, snow showers, and even mix start to develop. And we'll talk more about where we go from here, show you the future radar so you can help plan out the next couple of days for yourself coming up.
Sounds like a plan, Rachel. See you shortly. You can download the QR code, download the Fox 61 News app by scanning the QR code here on your screen. It's free. It's a great resource for the latest weather forecasts, live radar, all those conditions all across Connecticut. We are following breaking news tonight out of Hartford, where a man is in the hospital in critical condition after a shooting and a crash.
Yeah, this happened in the west end of the capital city. Fox 61's Sarah Sanchez joins us in the breaking news center with what we're learning right now. Sarah.
Well, Ben and Jen, Hartford police say it started when officers first responded to a crash near the intersection of Farmington Ave and Woodland Street. Some of the cars involved in the crash were parked. Officers first thought a man was just injured from that crash. He was taken to St. Francis Hospital, where it was found that he actually had a gunshot wound. It's unclear where the shooting happened, but police don't believe it was near that crash site. The man is in his late 20s and is listed in critical condition. Hartford police are investigating where the shooting happened. Of course, we'll bring you updates as soon as we get them. In the Breaking News Center, I'm Sarah Sanchez, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, thank you very much, Sarah. Keep us updated. And new at 10 in Money Matters, a public hearing at the Capitol about putting a cap on rent increases is still going on late into the evening.
Yeah, the hearing at the Legislative Office building was delayed because of an internet outage today. Fox 61's Gabby Molina joining us live outside of that hearing with the concerns people have about high rent prices here in Connecticut. Gabby.
Jen and Ben, that hearing was supposed to start at 10 o'clock this morning. It didn't end up starting until 3 o'clock. And you can see behind me in that room, that's where it's happening. It is still going on now. And it is expected to be a late night with hundreds of people signed up to speak for and against this proposal. Hundreds of people waiting hours and hours to have their voices heard on a bill that would cap annual rent increases at 4%.
And to have the schedule thrown off by so much, and now asking people to stay up late into the night to have a chance to participate in this really, really vital public hearing. It's a strain, it's a burden on folks.
The delay was because of an internet outage. Once the Legislative Office building was back online, lawmakers started to hear from people about their concerns with the price of rent in Connecticut.
So having stable, affordable housing would allow me to budget for my children's needs without worrying about uncertain rental costs.
Rent in Connecticut is only affordable if you are making at least $60,000 a year, which many of us struggle to do.
And advocates for this legislation say the state is already seeing the impacts of those prices.
Children's homelessness went up 25% in 1 year. Rents have increased on average 20% in 2 years. The housing crisis is affecting so many of our Connecticut residents.
Landlords said they agree there's a housing problem that needs to be addressed.
We just need the state to make it easier to build housing. We need the state to take away the problems of, the zoning problems.
But disagree on rent caps being the solution.
Rent caps are never the answer to the affordability problem, and economists on both sides of the aisle agree. We have an apartment supply problem, and developers want to be part of the affordability solution.
It's not clear how late this hearing is going to go on until at one point lawmakers even ordered pizza for everyone here because of such a long wait that they've had to go through today. Now, I did ask around to get an idea of what number speaker they're on, and I heard anywhere from 90 to 120. But either way, that means that there are still hundreds of people who have to speak. Live in Hartford, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Wow, Gabby, late night. Thank you very much. All right, new at 10, the Office of the Inspector General says a man who died in Norwich police custody earlier this month was killed by a lethal dose of fentanyl. The Inspector General's report says back on February 3rd, probation officers conducted a search of Brenton Chambers' vehicle, home, and business. Fentanyl was found in all 3 locations, and Chambers was arrested. Just before 4 the next morning, Chambers died from a seizure in his cell. The Inspector General also says his death was not because of any use of force against him, nor any criminal action by an officer. And also new at 10 tonight, a Hartford man accused of sexual assault appeared in court today. 24-year-old Mu Ta is facing 3 charges after he was arrested by West Hartford police. Investigators say back on January 15th, Ta beat a woman with a baton at the Holiday Inn in East Hartford and left a 2-inch cut on her head. The judge set his bond at $500,000, and the woman has a protective order against Ta. He's due back in court on March 8th.
Also new at 10 tonight, a North Branford man is facing 3 charges after police say he tried to meet up with someone who he thought was a 14-year-old girl for sexual activities. Investigators say 37-year-old Halil Demiraz tried using a messaging app to get together with the fake teen girl who was actually an undercover officer. Demiraz is accused of traveling to meet with the fake girl in East Haven, where officers arrested him. Demiraz was released on a $150,000 bond. He's due in court on March 1st.
A 16-year-old is in custody after West Hartford police say the teen stabbed someone at a home last night. Officers were called to a home on Federal Street for a stabbing at around 9 in the evening. They found an adult who had been stabbed in the neck there. That person was taken to the hospital where they're now listed in stable condition.
The preliminary investigation led to a 16-year-old juvenile suspect who does not reside at the resident location being taken into custody by West Hartford police officers and was held on an order to detain at juvenile detention.
The teenager is charged with criminal attempt to commit murder, first-degree assault, and disorderly conduct.
We're learning more about last week's stabbing in Manchester. A Hartford man accused of stalking a store clerk and stabbing her inside of her home. 35-year-old Damian Davis appeared in Manchester Superior Court today. An arrest warrant details several months of stalking events, which investigators say culminated with Thursday's stabbing inside of that woman's home. The woman's family says that someone slashed tires in their driveway several times. They also say that they don't feel safe in Manchester any longer.
The whole family's traumatized, you know. We still can't sleep at night. We want to just move out as soon as possible, you know. Because if it happens in your house, you know, how would you feel walking into the same kitchen and stuff like that?
Davis is facing several charges tonight, including assault and home invasion. His bail is set at $1 million, and he's due back in court in 2 weeks.
New details tonight about the case of a Wendy's restaurant manager in Plainfield accused of yelling racial slurs at a high school basketball team. That manager was fired and is now facing hate crime charges. 22-year-old Brett White of Canterbury has been given additional charges beyond breach of peace. He's now charged with intimidation based on bias or bigotry and deprivation of rights by force or threat. Earlier this month, boys basketball coaches at Woodstock Academy say that White refused to serve the team and called them racial slurs. White is due back in court on April 3rd.
The first selectman in Brookfield, their Twitter account has been suspended tonight after she faces criticism for recent tweets about the president. 3 weeks ago, RNC Research on Twitter posted a 3-second clip of Vice President Kamala Harris saying, quote, "So we have a lot to be thankful for in our president," end quote. First Selectman Tara Carr replied saying, quote, "He's aiding and abetting the enemy. Ready, aim, fire. One shot, one kill. That's simple," end quote. Brookfield's Democratic Town Committee says that Carr has showed behavior like this in the past on Twitter. Supporters say that the issue is being blown out of proportion.
It's not the first time she had tweeted something that somebody might find offensive. So not surprised, this one was maybe a little more shocking.
Just baloney. I don't know another way to put it. It's not true. It's completely false.
Selectman Carr did release a statement claiming that several fake Twitter accounts are trying to attribute tweets to her, fake ones. Fox 61 tried to speak to Carr today, but we're told that she's out of state on a family vacation.
New at 10, Starbucks workers in Brantford are trying to be the third location in Connecticut to form a union. Starbucks Workers United says employees at the coffee shop on North Main Street have filed a petition to unionize with the National Labor Relations Board. Starbucks workers at stores in West Hartford and Vernon unionized last year. Starbucks Workers United also says more than 7,000 baristas have formed unions at nearly 300 locations nationwide.
One high school will be closed in New Haven tomorrow. Classes at Wilbur Cross High School are all canceled due to emergency repairs to a water valve. The city school district expects the building to be reopened on Thursday, but will confirm that information at some point tomorrow afternoon. All other New Haven public schools will be open tomorrow.